and welcome to Star Wars Meditations, your weekly dive into all things Star Wars. We are coming to you today 2 days from the premiere of Last Jedi, and we want to talk to you about what we're most excited about for this film. My name is Greg.
I'm Ben.
I'm Karl.
And let's get right into it. Okay, Ben, what are you most excited for The Last Jedi?
Well, for me, I think the thing I've kind of been thinking about a lot is Carrie Fisher. So she's always been a kind of a big part of my Star Wars fandom. I'm really excited that my son and I went to see her speak a year ago, and it had a big impact on him. I think she was kind of a unique figure in history, and I'm, of course, very sad this is her last performance, but I'm just, really hoping her last performance is going to be a great memory of hers. And super curious to see what's going to happen with Princess Leia in this movie as well.
Yeah, I'm really thinking a lot that what we're going to get from Carrie is going to be, just perfection. It's going to be golden for Carrie. Some of the critiques for Force Awakens was that, Carrie was the one actress who was noticeably had stepped away from the camera, right, as opposed to Harrison. Mm-hmm. But I really think that Ryan, with what we've learned about his direction style, his ability to work with actors as characters, I think we're going to see a really strong performance from Carrie that's going to translate to a very strong Leia character.
Yeah, I completely agree with what you're both saying. I would throw it back to Force Awakens and say before it came out, I think there was a lot of fear because Carrie had become Carrie, kind of Aunt Carrie, really fun, really kind of cursing a lot and having a good time. And I think there was fear she wouldn't be able to become Leia again. And I think she put all that to rest with the very small amount she got. But to elevate her game, I think, is what I would agree with your excitement for. I'm really hoping there's something special in those moments because we're going to want to savor them. And I'll just add, I know you recently read the Princess Diarist, and I really liked that one of the dedications was to Ryan. So I think there was a good relationship there, and I think she thinks this is a good film.
One thing, I remember Rian Johnson said that he actually did a lot of script reviews with her at her house.
Yeah.
And she was a great script doctor. I know she had some, I've seen some of the script edits she did for Empire Strikes Back, and they were fantastic. So I'm excited about that as well.
Just that thought of the way Ryan kind of painted the picture was, she was laying across the bed, he was sitting at the end of the bed. They were there was this very intimate moment between the two of them, which I think really shows a lot of the relationship that the two of them built. And also worth remembering the fact that supposedly George approached Carrie even during the prequels to ask for some script edits, but she turned him down. Again, that could just be Star Wars lore.
I think she did a little touch-up here and there. I think there's a little Carrie in there. Yeah, and I really am saddened that we lost her because it seemed like it was after her death that we all started to really realize what an amazing treasure she was, right? Mm-hmm. I think Leia was seen as an icon, a feminist icon, an icon of power. But now that we've lost her, I think everybody really respects Carrie more, and I hope she knows how much she was loved by all of us.
My favorite aspect of Star Wars has always been the Force. The mythology that circles around the Force, the spirituality that is infused into Star Wars because of the Force. So I'm really excited to see how the mythology of the Force is expanded in this film. They've been doing a lot of that with Rebels and looking at it from different angles. I mean, they started doing that with Force Awakens. By giving us Maz Kanata, the first non-Jedi Force user in a sense. And then we get, the Lasat in Rebels. We get, just Lor San Tekka. There's Chirrut Îmwe, right? The Guardians of the Wills. The Force has really been expanded a lot in what we've gotten in the last few years. And this idea that Luke has returned to the first Jedi Temple on Ahch-To, the idea that he's probably going there, and this is, again, my speculation, that he's gone there in the hopes of really channeling a pure connection to the Force, a better sense of what do I do next? Because what I thought I was supposed to do didn't work. It failed. What do I do next? And these characters, the caretakers, the reptile nuns on Ahch-To, that basically look like the dinosaurs from Not the Mama. How do they fit into all this? They're really dialing into this idea of the spirituality of the Force. And I'm really excited to see what they do with that and what Luke has to offer us. I mean, we all heard that line in the first teaser, "The Jedi must end." Nowhere in there does that mean the Force doesn't exist, but what does Luke feel like the Force is calling him to do next? I mean, we're coming off of a character, Ahsoka. I'm no Jedi, right? Like, this is a character who's very in tune with the Force, but not a Jedi. So what does this all have to do? And I really think that we're going to get a lot of that. Not to mention, we get these awesome books in that treehouse. But,
that one image of seeing the books inside of the tree, like, really told me that there's going to be a big Force war in this movie.
Yeah.
Is it the Journal of the Wills? Right? I
hope
don't know
so.
what else it would be. I'll dive into the prediction pool with you and say I think we are going to get something here. I think I would be surprised if we don't get some fundamental shift in how we understand the Force, and I think it's really exciting. My read on Phantom Menace is that George wanted to do something different with the Force, and we get these little hints that there's the living Force, right, as opposed to just the Force, and I think there's something more to that, and I hope, as well as you, I'm excited to see them really take some chances and to try something big and different with that. Empire is the second chapter, and it has such a rich kind of quest into the faith of the Force. I think it's only natural that we'll get a little more of that, and that's really exciting, as you said.
Yeah. It seems like we're going to have a different take on the dark side as well. I'm really curious to learn more about what Snoke's philosophy is. It doesn't seem like he's following kind of the Sith principles. It seems like in his own weird way, he is seeking some sort of balance. So I'm really curious to see how that dynamic plays out and, what Rian Johnson does with it.
Yeah. Well, think of one of the biggest things that prequels gave us was the idea of balance of the Force. And what exactly that means is never explicitly stated, ever, in the films. The idea that the light and the dark must exist together. And I know, Ben, you sent me from one of the recent, was it in Poe's comic? Or I don't know which comic line, I'm not really up to date, but the thing with Laura Santeca, where he's talking about this idea that the Force can exist as this co-relationship between the light and the dark. Yeah. We see that play out, right? A lot of people are asking, is Luke gone to the dark side? And I know we're going to probably talk on that in a minute here, but is there this reality that the Force doesn't have to be one or the other?
I agree with you, and I think that's very different than this concept of the gray Jedi that's been going around.
Yeah.
And I will just add that part of that balance, I think we're going to see personified with Rey and Kylo, right? These are two characters that they seem to be putting on a parallel track, and I think we're going to see some relationship there to the Force.
Yeah. So. Yeah. What about you?
All right. Well, more than anything else, I'm most looking forward to some good old-fashioned Luke Skywalker, right? My hope for this is the oldest hope and the new hope, to get some good Luke action into this film. And certainly, I think, it became pretty clear up until the moment Force Awakens started that Luke was going to be in it, but he wasn't going to really be in it, right? Mark wasn't doing the kind of circulation in the press. He wasn't on talk shows or anything, and I think we all had a feeling going in. And some fans got really frustrated by that. I wouldn't say I was frustrated, but I want more. I'm so excited to see Luke, because when I look into my childhood and I think about all the things Star Wars has meant to me, I come back to Luke, right? I'm not a Han Solo type, right? I'm a Luke type. I'm a whiny farm boy more than I am the cool dashing smuggler. And so I really want to see who he's become and who he is. I have a lot of love for what Legends did with him originally, but I think that character got stale by the end of the Legends run. And to get this kind of massive reset and to really explore him, I'm really excited to see him return.
I think it's interesting with when we saw The Force Awakens, part of what was going on is that we are seeing kind of a reflection on how these characters have aged. Like, I kind of felt like it, since I watched it as a kid and I'm seeing it now as a parent, I was noticing like the story that's being told about the tragedy of what Kylo Ren did. And we're kind of seeing that reflected in Han's story in a very powerful way in the first in the first of this new trilogy. I think we're going to see what's going to happen. What happened with Luke now, and it's interesting because we saw Luke as really a boy. Like when you see A New Hope, he really does seem like a teenager, and we just kind of are seeing a lot of his evolution in the beginning, and we've kind of missed this middle section, and we're gonna see what Luke Skywalker is like now. I mean, I'm excited to see that progression.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Joseph Campbell, everybody talks about the hero cycle, but what he really was theorizing there is that stories are supposed to help us through the transition points in life, right? And I think you're right to say Luke was a boy when we met him, and he's a man when we leave him, and it's that maturation, that coming into the world we witness in the old trilogy. Now we're seeing what happens at the other end of that, right? And I think you're right to say, like, oh, he aged with the fans, so now a lot of people who enjoyed the originals have a little more gray hair and are a little, vintage themselves. So I think to have him help us into our sweet good night, it would be excellent.
I think the hardest thing, right, because we've been informed that this isn't going to go the way you think, right? It's pretty clear that this is a different Luke Skywalker. The Luke Skywalker we leave at the end of Return of the Jedi is matured into a man, and more than that, he's the returned hero, to use Campbellian language, right? He's come back with a boon.
Master of both worlds.
Yeah. And so what happens now, something I thought about a long time ago when they first announced in 2012, when they announced that we were getting new Star Wars films. Is that when
I think that's
that
right.
went down? Yeah. That, to me, I thought it was really cool because to have a third trilogy, essentially this first trilogy is telling us what went wrong. The second trilogy tells us how did we fix it, how did we redeem it. And then the third trilogy is how does it stand up to further tests, right? Because, you can put something back together, but how strong is it really needs to kind of be tested and fortified. And I think that that's what this trilogy is going to do, is Luke is not that hero we left at Return of the Jedi, smiling and embracing his new family and looking at this holy trinity of Force ghosts. He's a changed man now. And I think that is going to be jarring for us, but I think it's so important. What happens when the hero doesn't remain the hero? What happens when he fails in a way? And to me, all heroes fail. And the true hero is able to continue forward. So how is he going to continue forward? Because he certainly seems to have hit a stalemate here on Octu. He's hit pause. He's in isolation. Why?
Yeah.
Right? That's, to me, that's one of my biggest questions is why is he really there?
And where do we go from here? Absolutely. All right. So, Carrie Fisher, The Force, Luke Skywalker. Tell us what you are excited about by dropping a little message in the comments down below. Thank you for watching our pilot episode, and we hope you click subscribe while you're here. Thank you very much, and may the Force be with you.
Always.